and Darcey Gohring, who are a writer and editor of a new book. It's called Corona City, and it's made up of essays and writing of different people's experiences with the coronavirus when the pandemic first flared up. Lorraine, you edited this book, you pulled it together.
Yes.
What is the purpose of it?
To create community. When we were first in the first epicenter in the country, everybody was isolated, confused, afraid, and we went online to create community. I put together a series called the COVID-19 Diaries from one of the places where I teach memoir at the Mariondale Center. And 35 writers came on, and we just encouraged them to, whatever they were going through, write it out. They were amazing. And then we kept going, and we expanded it. Next thing you know, we had a book.
And Darcey's one of the authors.
That's
in the
right.
book. So tell us a little bit about what you wrote, Darcey.
So I was going through COVID just like everybody else when it first hit in March. My kids were home, and we were all getting used to the new normal. And totally out of the blue, completely unexpected, one night was sitting on the couch and just sort of adjusted something and felt a lump. And it was the last thing, I had no history of anything. No one in my family had any history. So it was the last thing I was expecting. And, you have to remember at this time, it was really in the beginning when we didn't know how you would get COVID or anything. So I was really lucky that I had a great doctor who I emailed that night at 11 o'clock after my husband felt it, and he was like, yeah, I think it's something. And she agreed to see me alone the next day in her office. And she really called in favors for me and got me seen, right away. And it was a scary time. It was, doctors and nurses were almost afraid to touch you because everybody was so afraid of what was, not knowing who had it or how you got it or anything. So anyway, my story is that. It is about the experience of going through, a medical crisis at one of the worst times to have it. And, the hospital was really inundated with patients. And, there's part of me that feels like I was shown such a kindness from the doctors. And then the other part of me that, looks back on it and says, it was just such a frightening time to go through it.
And Lorraine, this is just one of many stories that are told in this. Tell us about some of the others.
We have Sue Farrar-Dinnitzon here. She started New Jersey Masks. Her son is a firefighter in Patterson, and she was afraid. She said, I made a deal with God. Keep him safe, and I'll make masks for everybody. And she assembled a huge team that made thousands and thousands of them. They give them away. It's how people suffered, and also how people rallied. How they loved and exhibited resilience in this time.
And Darcey, a little bit of, it's like a catharsis, right, to write this?
Absolutely, yeah. When I had my treatments, no one was allowed to come with me. I think there was one doctor's appointment that my husband was allowed to come to just when they were giving me the diagnosis. And it's not easy to do that, but you have to also look for the good things in it. As Lorraine's talking, I'm thinking, when the day I had my surgery, I started tearing up with one of the nurses, and I just said, this is so hard. I just want my husband to be here. I just want to be with somebody else. And the nurse said to me, today we are your family, and we're going to get you through this. And it was true, So I think Lorraine has been able to compile a whole group of us that all have different experiences, but they're really human. And this book is just a great compilation of stories, real stories.
And it's available on Amazon. Proceeds for this book are going to help hunger as well, correct, Lorraine?
100%.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, Darcey, for being with me. Great segment.
Thank you.